Hello, my name is Marlene Gutierrez, and today I will be discussing social media. My research question is: what is the impact between social media use and mental health and well being amongst teenagers and adolescents? Today, I will be focusing on negative effects of social media, and these will include mental health issues, platforms that cause these issues, how it also affects the well-being of teenagers and adolescents socially, psychologically, which is also mentally, personal as well. Thus, negative cyberbullying effects, the overuse of social media, and the different motives that cause these users to use these platforms. Depression is one of the most leading factors, negative factors of social media. Barry Sidoti and Briggs study 226 participants throughout the US from the ages 14 to 17 years old. They reported a correlation between the parameters of social media use and apparent reported symptoms, which included inattention, hyperactivity, impulsivity, oppositional defiant disorder, conduct disorder, anxiety, and depression. So these are just some of the symptoms that cause that were caused because of social media use. Barry's other important findings were that the number of social media accounts and the frequency of social media use was positively related to fear of missing out, loneliness, parent reportings of hyperactivity in their children, anxiety, and depression. This correlates to what also Richards, Caldwell, and Go discuss in their studies, which is similar impacts related to young children from ages 5 to 17 years old. There was mental health prominent issues, which included symptoms of depression, low self-esteem, and anxiety. So both of these relationships between both these studies find that there is this correlation between depression and the social media use amongst these young children and teenagers and adolescents. The social media platforms and its users. Some of the social media platforms are very well known nowadays: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. On uses different theoretical frameworks that researchers have used to understand adolescence and social network. Some relationship between social media sites, which include social capital, privacy, safety, psychological well-being, and educational achievement, are some of the negative aspects of the social media sites. The findings from Hahn were that African American youth were more prominent to use social media than their white peers. And on also discovered that it doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, there is always a way and different resources to try to find social media use. And so this is in all different races and stuff, but these findings show that African American users are more prominent to use it than their white counterparts. Well-being is also a very impactful thing in the lives of teenagers and well-beings. This affects them socially, how they interact with their peers or even distance themselves from their peers. Emotional, just they can be very depressed, sad, lonely. Personal well-being, it's the way that they perceive themselves. So Best, Mantello, and Taylor retrieved 43 original research papers exploring harmful effects that included increased exposure to harm, social isolation, depression, and cyberbullying, which also indicates what Barry also already found, that pinpoints that how adolescents in today's generation have grown up with social media, which affects their well-being. This refers to the mere fact that teenagers and adolescents nowadays have grown up with this generation to idolize technology and social media in their daily activities. So this has become a very, very prominent thing in today's society. There is another survey conducted by Royal Society for Public Health, which asked 14 to 24-year-olds in the UK how social media platforms impacted their health and well-being. The results were that Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram all led to increased feelings of depression, anxiety, poor body image, and loneliness. So this correlates to what a lot of other researchers have already found, that these specific platforms are very prominent into the negative effects that teenagers and adolescents may have. Cyberbullying is also a very important leading cause of negative effect of social media. MKey discusses how peer acceptance is a big thing for adolescents, and many care about their image, as well as it is easier nowadays just to be cruel on social media. This is because it's easier for someone to write something negative about their peer online rather than doing it face-to-face, where there is no consequence. While doing it online, nobody gets to see your reaction. This also gave, I also found a very prominent film called Cyberbully, which is a film 2011 starring Emily Osment. This shows the life of a teenage girl who becomes a victim of cyberbullying and reaches a breaking point, which leads to physical harm and depression. So here in this film, we can see how cyberbullying really negatively impacts this teenage girl and causes her to want to become suicidal by overdosing on pills. And of course, some of the effects are depression. Overuse of social media. Primark and Shensha discuss of increased time spent on social media, which has been associated with depression and anxiety. Some of the findings were that young adults are increasingly engaged with social media, and about 90% of young adults in the US use social media, and the majority of users visit these sites at least once a day. So we can only imagine how just once a day can increasingly affect these users. People might think once a day is not a lot, but it becomes something that you are prone to doing every single day, which can have a negative impact later on. What are some of the motives for social media use? Honk and Einstein show how adolescents' attention-seeking motives were examined as a mediator of these associations. Hawk describes how narcissism is one personality factor that might be connected to excessive or problematic use of social media and smartphones.